We want the government to be open. The Democrats are lying, but if you don't mind, let's spell it out exactly what they did. I think I get it. There was a continuing resolution that is a clean resolution. Just keep the spending what it is until November. Let's argue about it from now till November. But the Democrats in the Senate offered up an alternative CR. And what did they put in that turns out to be a poison pill for the Republicans?
Well, several things, but the biggest thing is that the Democrats want to provide $1 trillion in free health care to illegal aliens. President Trump campaigned on the fact that he's going to seal our border and he's going to deport illegal aliens, particularly Tren de Aragua foreign terrorists and MS-13 gangbangers. The American
Right.
people liked what they heard: 312 electoral votes, all 7 swing states, the popular vote, kept the House, won a comfortable margin in the Senate. Trump has a mandate to lead, and particularly on immigration. And the Democrats are going against the will of the American people. They want to get, again, $1 trillion in free health care to illegal aliens. That is a red line. That is a hell no. And if if Democrats want to shut down the government over this, that shows you who they care about. They care about their political base, their voting base. Remember, these illegals, they say they can't vote, but it's amazing they still manage to vote. But
Yeah.
Democrats are fighting for illegal aliens. President Trump is fighting for real Americans and real America.
You know, Mike, yesterday, the Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson, was on CNN. And as he was speaking, and they were taking it live, he said, the Democrats want to do exactly what you just described. And here's how they're doing it, because many are saying they're not doing that. Well, this is what they did. Then CNN pulled away from the coverage because, God forbid, the 2 people watching CNN would get the actual story. So let's break it down even further. Let's go down the rabbit hole. I understand it's on page 57. Is this them trying to say what you took out in the big, beautiful bill that was subsidizing illegal health care? We insist you put it back or else we won't agree to the CR. Did I get that right? I mean, is that what 57 says? It's on the page, black and white.
Yes. Again, Democrats are going to shut down the federal government because they want to provide $1 trillion in free health care to illegal aliens. It's very clear. They can try to hide all they want with their dystopian language that they use, their lies, but that's what it comes down to. They want $1 trillion. Democrats want $1 trillion in free health care for illegal aliens.
And if I understand it right, that money, the billions that were taken out that was subsidizing illegal alien health care in places like California and Illinois, that money was actual pandemic money. That was part of the increase to the budget to cover the cost during COVID, and that should have been taken out anyway. In fact, about $2 trillion of spending should be taken out. That was just a drop in the bucket. That's the specific money they're talking about, right?
Yes, and I want to make this point. It is a federal crime under 8 USC section 1324 to harbor illegal aliens. And that includes providing financial assistance to illegal aliens. And that is exactly what these Democrats are doing. And it is illegal. So if the governor of California, Gavin Newsom, for example, is providing financial assistance to illegal aliens, he can and should be charged with a federal felony of harboring under 8 USC section 1324. It is time for the Justice Department to take off the gloves here and start charging these people.
Well, I'm glad you went there. It's Mike Davis. Go to article3project.org. Go support everything he does. It's a great organization and actually is based on the Constitution. Imagine that. I'm glad you went there. Let's go to Chicago. Let's go to Illinois, because we know that J.B. Pritzker said, take out your Android or your iPhone. I guess he had to say what brand it was. And make sure you get ICE agents' faces. You should protest. And now we're seeing an ICE agent was dragged, almost killed. We're seeing other agents are stopped from doing their jobs. It's not going to happen. I wish it would. But would it be lawful to go to Illinois and put him in handcuffs and say you're aiding and abetting and you're inciting violence against federal agents? Could that? I know it's not gonna, but could that happen?
Well, I'll tell you what. There is a clear line under the Supreme Court's Brandenburg test between free speech, including fiery rhetoric, versus incitement of violence. And if you cross that line, you should be charged with federal charges, and you should be put in prison. And it doesn't matter whether you're a Joe Schmo on the street or the governor of Illinois. If you incite violence against federal law enforcement agents, you should be charged. You should be charged with conspiracy aiding and abetting assaults, assaults on federal law enforcement, there's no shortage of federal crimes that you can charge if you're inciting violence against federal law enforcement officers. So I would say to Governor Pritzker that he better watch himself, because if he's actually going to incite violence against ICE agents, uh, I have no doubt that Pam Bondi will charge him with a federal crime.
Well, Mike, it's open and closed, isn't it? He said do it, then they did. I mean, the boss of the state, the governor of the state says, go and do this. They went and did it, and the result was violence. The result was arrest. The result was ICE couldn't do their jobs that they're supposed to be able to do because all issues of naturalization fall to the federal government. He doesn't even have a case, does he?
Well, the incitement's very hard to prove incitement, right? It can't just be, again, under the Brandenburg test, under the Supreme Court test, there is a clear line between free speech and incitement. And if you're encouraging people to go be violent, and they go and you know that they're going to go be violent, and then they go in their violence, you can definitely be charged with incitements. And so I would say to Governor Pritzker that he better tread very carefully here when you're asking people to go harass federal ICE agents while they're doing their job, because separate from incitements, or separate from aiding and abetting, there's obstruction of federal law enforcement,
Right.
and there's conspiracy.
It is Mike Davis, Article3Project.org. Go and follow him everywhere. MMRD. Mike, I always forget. What is the name over on the socials?
It's it's bad. It's MRDDMIA. My initials in Des Moines, Iowa. I set this up like 15 years ago.
MRDDMIA. Yes?
Yep.
All right, got
Yes,
it.
yes, sir.
Well, I didn't get it because I just had to have you tell me. All right, let's get into whether the president can do what he's doing with the National Guard. I know he can do it in Washington, D.C., because that district is under the purview of the Congress. It's under the purview of the executive. You could send people in for 30 days. Then you've got to re-up it or do something like that. We see the numbers of carjackings down 87%, murders down 50% plus. People are actually going to the parks now and enjoying Union Station. That's all good. He sent them into Memphis because the Tennessee governor wanted him to. Great, he can do that. Can he send them to Chicago where they don't want him? Can he send them to Portland where they don't want him?
Yes. If there's violence in the streets, and the state and local people will refuse to put down the violence, if there's an insurrection or there's other violence in cities, you don't need the permission of the governor to send in the military to put down the violence. The president has that power under Article 2 of the Constitution as the commander in chief. He has that power as the chief executive officer. He also has that power under federal statutes.
So him sending people to Portland, where they just arrested Nick Sorter, who's like a reporter in Portland, it doesn't make any sense. The police in Portland appear to be showing support for Antifa and making sure they have the right to destroy and riot and act like idiots. The president can counter that by sending in the National Guard. I mean, I know that he can to protect ICE, to protect the facilities there, the federal facilities. He can do it to protect the employees and the vehicles. But he can, in fact, if there's no law enforcement at all, and if in fact the law enforcement is helping the bad guys, he can do that under Article 2.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. Not only under the Constitution, but under federal statute. If there is an insurrection, if there's uncontrolled violence, rebellion in cities where they're fighting against the police are standing down, or even worse, like in Portland, it seems like the police is on Antifa's side. If that happens, then the president absolutely has the power and the duty to go and put down that insurrection or that rebellion.
MRDDMIA over on the social media. It's Mike Davis, Article3Project.org. I don't want to not get to this, and I want to preface this story because I don't know anything about it. You're going to fill me in on Jeff Clark. But I'm going to preface this by saying I have, on occasion, written a long email telling everybody and their mother off, and then I never sent it. I've done that just because it's therapeutic and cathartic for me. It appears as though, if I have this story right, this Jeff Clark, a former DOJ official, wrote or he drafted a legal memo that never got sent to anybody. He drafted it and didn't do anything with it, and they're trying to take away his ability to practice law. Fill me in.
That's exactly right. And unlike you, Joe, I don't have as much self-control. So if you just go look at my Twitter at any given moment, I actually push send on everything that I think.
Fact check true, yes.
But yes, fact check true. The new Twitter is great because they can't throw me off like they did with the old Twitter. So thank you, Elon Musk. But
yes.
I would say this about Jeff Clark. He was a senior Justice Department official. He was an assistant attorney general, Senate confirmed. He was providing advice to the president, to the attorney general, to people in the White House, which is his job as an assistant attorney general. He drafted a legal memo that he wanted to share. He drafted it. He never shared it. And because of this, the DC bar has recommended that Jeff Clark get disbarred because they're so partisan in DC. I'm a member of the DC bar. This is truly unacceptable. Now, the DC Court of Appeals, which is the highest court in DC, it's essentially the state Supreme Court of DC. We're a state. And now the DC Court of Appeals has to decide whether to accept the recommendation of the DC bar and disbar Jeff Clark for doing his job, right? And think about this. I mean, if you're a lawyer and you draft a legal argument, even if it's a novel legal argument, even if it's a crazy legal argument, that's what lawyers are supposed to do. They're supposed to think creatively and advocate on behalf of their clients. This wasn't even advocacy. This was just drafting a legal memo. And now these partisans on the DC bar, these partisan Democrats, are trying to disbar Jeff Clark and destroy his livelihoods, destroy his ability to be an attorney. And this is absolutely unacceptable. And that's why just today, the Article 3 project filed an amicus brief with the DC Court of Appeals laying out our argument. It was like 40 pages that we laid out, explaining how un-American this is to do this to anyone, particularly a lawyer. You're going to scare these conservative attorneys so they can't do their jobs, and that's exactly what their mission is here with this disbarment proceedings. And this is unacceptable. And we stand with Jeff Clark. We proudly and fully stand with Jeff Clark at the Article 3 project. And if they actually go forward and do this, we're gonna look at other means. We're gonna go to Congress and we're gonna look at taking away DC home rule. We're gonna look at cutting their funding. We're going to exact political consequences, severe legal, political, and financial consequences if they actually follow through and do this.
Well, how did they know about the memo? Did somebody leak it?
Yeah, it's a good question. It was part of the January 6th proceedings, and I think they got the memo when they were doing their stupid January 6th investigation. They wanted to let BLM and Antifa run wild for 5 years, and then they wanted to go after Trump, his top aides, his allies, parents, Christians, with the Democrats' lawfare. Look, there is going to be accountability for all this lawfare, including against Trump, his top aides like Steve Bannon and Peter Navarro, who got sent to prison, Jeff Clark, who they're trying to disbar. They made his life miserable. They dragged him out of his house early in the morning in his underwear to arrest him. I mean, it's just sickening what these Democrats are doing. And if the DC Court of Appeals actually moves forward and disbars Jeff Clark, that is truly a red line that they've crossed. And this is so much bigger than Jeff Clark. This is going to have a severe chilling effect on our legal system, where attorneys are not going to be able to zealously advocate on behalf of their clients without fear that some partisan hack at the DC bar is going to take away their law license.
Well, listen, go and help at article3project.org to make sure he keeps on doing this hard work. And protecting a guy like Jeff Clark sounds to be like a no-brainer, and we certainly want to support you and your organization doing that. Can he take a case like that to the Supreme Court if the D.C. highest court makes the bad ruling?
He probably could. It would be hard to do, but D.C. is a federal enclave. Okay. I think D.C. home rule is clearly unconstitutional because it violates the Appointments Clause. The president runs the federal enclaves, including D.C. Congress passed this unconstitutional D.C. Home Rule Act of 1973 that needs to be repealed. But look, I will go all in on this. I will raise holy hell until Congress exacts painful retribution on D.C. If they go forward with this disbarment of Jeff Barr, they need to be defunded. They need to haul in their officials before Congress for oversight. This is truly unacceptable, un-American. This is exactly what you would expect in a third world Marxist hellhole like Washington, D.C.
Find out more about this case by going to MRDDMIA over on the social media. It's up on X. It's up, I believe it's probably on Truth as well. It's Mike Davis. Mike, let's talk about James Comey. I will say this and not fear any retribution or suit from James Comey. He lied to the FISA court. We know that he lied to the FISA court to keep the warrant and the wiretapping of Trump Tower to continue. He was planting news stories in Yahoo News and then going to the FISA judge and say, look, there's a new news story here, that they were actually circular planting these news stories to keep the surveillance going. But the statute of limitations ended on that. which sucks. So now they go after him on obstruction. They go after him on lying to Congress. Will these charges stick? And can anything from the previous statute that's now up, can anything be brought up about Russia, the lie about the dossier, the lie about Hillary Clinton, the lie to the FISA court, or is he scot-free on that stuff?
No, he's not scot-free, and this is just the beginning of the accountability against James Comey, and certainly not the end. I have very publicly called for accountability on this since the Mar-a-Lago raid over 3 years ago. I've done over 5,000 media hits, including on your show many times, Joe, and I have very publicly said that they need to open up a special grand jury in Fort Pierce, Florida, and look at bringing charges against for conspiracy against rights under 18 USC Section 241 against all these lawfare Democrats and other operatives. This is the biggest scandal in American history. They politicized and weaponized law enforcement and intel agencies to go after their political opponent, Donald Trump, and to protect Hillary Clinton and to hide her corruption. And that's what the Crossfire Hurricane hoax was about, Russian collusion hoax. And this has been an ongoing criminal conspiracy. Covering up the conspiracy continues the conspiracy. There's no statute of limitations problem. And James Comey may be able to get past a jury in the D.C. suburbs in the Eastern District of Virginia. You might have jury nullification there. He clearly lied to the Senate Judiciary Committee in 2017. He lied to my boss, Chairman Chuck Grassley. He lied again in 2020 to Ted Cruz when he reaffirmed his 2017 lie. He got indicted by a grand jury of his peers in the Eastern District of Virginia. Like I said, you have a Democrat judge, and you're going to have an overwhelmingly Democrat jury with government workers. He might get off in Alexandria, the Eastern District of Virginia. But if they bring charges against Comey and the other lawfare operatives down in Fort Pierce, Florida, they may not have such an easy time getting out of those.
Would it be conspiracy? That's why the statute isn't up? Or would it be treasonous? That's why the statute wouldn't be up? Because on the actual individual charges, they charged them with these two charges, as I'm sure you know, 5 days before that statute would have ended up going away. But if you call it conspiracy and a continued conspiracy, that's how you can extend the statute, or there isn't any?
There is a statute of limitations. It's 5 years for most federal felonies, but including conspiracy. But continuing covering up the conspiracy continues the conspiracy. There's no statute of limitations problem because they're still covering up the conspiracy by lying about it. You have to in order to end the conspiracy, you have to disavow the conspiracy. They have not disavowed the conspiracy. They continue to cover it up. And so I would say to these lawfare Democrats, and I'm very serious about this, and I've said it for 3 years, you better lawyer up, because justice is coming. I want to make damn sure that happens. Nobody's above the law, as they tell us. And I've made that my very public mission to bring accountability. I've done it for the last 3 years since the Mar-a-Lago raid, and I will continue to do it for the next 4 years until we see these lawfare Democrats and other operatives go to prison.
Founder, Article 3 Project, it's Mike Davis. Mike, one last quick one, and I appreciate the time and the access today. Ilhan Omar said the most disgusting things about your friend and mine, Charlie Kirk. It doesn't make any sense why she said it. Frankenstein's monster killed Frankenstein with a bullet. The things that she said, that he was filled with hate, so on and so forth. She can be sued for defamation by Erica Kirk and the organization, but why does she have the right to sit there on the, the foreign intelligence, no, the foreign, something foreign committee. I forget what it is. Why does she have the right to sit on any committee assignments? Why did the Republicans vote not to censure her? You had 4 Republicans that switched, so she didn't get censured by 1 vote. What am I missing? Are the Democrats that much stronger congressionally when they have the power than Republicans? This should have been an easy, Mike, to strip her of any committee assignment and to censure her. That's easy. That's an easy one.
Yeah, this is outrageous. You had Charlie Kirk, who was a great American. He was a Christian, he was a father, he was a husband, just an all-around very good person. And he went to college campuses and invited open debate, something that hasn't happened in college campuses in decades. And he was hunted and murdered, right? For the whole world to see. And then you have this third world Marxist trash like Ilhan Omar and her cabal of terrorist sympathizers celebrating this. Ilhan or Elon, whatever the hell her name is, Ilhan Omar, who married her brother,
Yes.
got into this country by marrying her brother, mortgage or marriage fraud. She needs to be denaturalized and sent back to whatever dump country she came from, because she is truly a despicable human being. And it is just outrageous that those 4 House Republicans are such cowards that they did not remove this despicable human being from her committee assignments. The Democrats did this to MTG. The Democrats tried to throw in prison President Trump 4 different times for non-crimes, throw him off the ballot unconstitutionally in Colorado, Maine, elsewhere. They tried to bankrupt him for non-fraud. I mean, it's unbelievable that Democrats will the Democrats tried to kill President Trump when Joe Biden said that President Trump is the gravest threat to democracy ever, and to underfund his Secret Service protection twice. And then Biden said to put a bullseye on Trump's head and almost got Trump killed twice.
Right.
And then you have these cowards and these 4 House Republican cowards who can't even muster the balls to throw Ilhan Omar off of her committee assignments. These guys need to be primaried and thrown out of the House. They are too weak to serve in the House of Representatives.
Mike, it isn't an allegation that she married her brother to get him into the country. Why is she serving in Congress at all? Is that not against the law anymore? I can marry my sister and do whatever I want? Really?
That's the problem. When you import the third world, you become the third world, and you bring these scumbags from these third world countries that absolutely hate America. Ilhan Omar absolutely hates America. She hates everything that we stand for. She's happy that a conservative white Christian father and husband got murdered on TV, because she is the scum of the earth. We need to denaturalize people like her and send them the hell out of our country.
I couldn't agree more. It's Mike Davis, article3project.org. Go follow him, MRDDMIA, over on social media. He's a great follow, doing hard work for the American people and for the Constitution. Mike, I appreciate you, brother. Thank you.
Thank you.